Hi, guys. My name is Amina K. Thornton, and you are listening to the One Up podcast. You can get the stations on anchor.fm/one up. That is anchor.fm/one up. You can also see these videos recorded live on the series that we're doing here today called Message of Hope Stories of a Struggle to Success on the network Amina.media. Amina.media. You just enter that in your browser and you'll be able to see the videos of all these series as well as our success building courses and mindset courses as well. Thank you for listening in. And today I'm going to introduce in Alex Bowser, right? Is that?
Yep, that's
I love
right.
your last name because I like I said before, big Mario fan. So he is here to share his message of hope story, struggle to success with us, and he's going to be talking about his like loving his self, family, leaving a legacy, and what that entails, and everything in between, like from where
Mhm.
he's had to overcome a lot of hurdles. And I think I've seen some things like you've been posting a lot lately. So I
Yeah,
don't know where you want to start, but
absolutely.
you have quite a bit of story. You something about like
Man.
surviving like a car crash or something, right?
Yeah. You know
Yeah.
what? Let's just lay down like a really solid foundation of everything and we can kind
Okay.
of just pick and choose from
Yeah.
there.
Okay.
So for obviously those of you that don't know me, let's see, I'm 20 years old, born and raised in Denver, Colorado. I live over here in Fresno, California. And in about the last 9 to 10 years, I've survived 2 drunk driving accidents. I've survived multiple depression periods, drug abuse. I used to snort cocaine while I was getting my law enforcement degree at Fresno State.
Wow.
Moved like 9 or 10 times in the last few years. Wasn't really stable. There was a really extended period of time in my life when I was sleeping on a couch. I was sleeping on floors. There's 4 of us in a 1 bedroom apartment. I wasn't pulling in any income for, I think it was like 4 or 5, 6 months. I would show up and I'd have classes that are like ex-CIA, right? Like they're responsible for coaching police departments. And I'm sitting right in front of them and I just smell like booze. I look
And
rough
cocaine,
and I'm
right?
like,
You said cocaine
yeah,
too, right? Yeah.
yeah. And then I'm acing these tests on all of this. Like I was living the life
Wow.
that they were studying and everybody knew it. Like you took one look at me and they're like, this guy is not like, what is he doing here? Survived all that. On the flip side, and this is like where it's going to draw the comparison. I was going to be a pilot in the Air Force. I was in love with a gal. We were going to get married, and the family business was in the future of millions by the time I was this age.
How
I
old are
was
you again?
recruited.
How old are
I'm
you again?
28. I'm
28.
28.
Okay.
Yeah. And I was an NCAA athlete, all-star football player, varsity, 3 sports. Like I was a monster. So I experienced a lot of triumph and a lot of tragedy in a very condensed period of time. And that's
Wow.
just yielded me so many life lessons. And I guess that's why I'm on this as your guest today, is to kind of share a few of those lessons, challenge people's perspectives, and
Yeah, definitely.
yeah, see what we come up with. But that's
The
like the major
nutshell.
stuff in a nutshell.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a lot to go off of there. I guess what I'm curious about is, so what happened? You said that you got this relationship up and going. Were you living with each other at the time, or
Yep.
and then
Yeah.
you were building a business, or you had a business there?
So this all, I guess, is like a tragedy, like a love tragedy, is what it really
Yeah.
became.
Oh no.
Um, Yeah, so I was born and raised in Denver. My parents moved me here to Fresno, California. Then I did like junior high, high school, got into college. Well, they moved back. So I stayed here. I stayed here in Fresno. They moved. I never lived on my own. I'm 17 at the time, just got into Fresno State. I'm on the track program. I rushed a fraternity. So I was also a fraternity hero, is what we call them, right? And my buddy was doing the ROTC program. So I had all this stuff going on. I was a molecular bio major, way too much going on in the beginning. Let me tell you, like, I don't recommend that to anybody first year of college. Well, after the first year, I didn't really have anybody. I wasn't dating. I was doing the whole player thing, like whatever, whenever, whoever. And then I met this young girl, completely fell in love with her, head over heels. huge Christian family. She was just like a light in my world. I moved in with them, and big, huge mansion. They had an apartment up top. That's where we were at like 19 years old, 18, 19 years old.
Yeah.
And I gave up the Air Force. I quit the track program. I switched majors because her family, they're chicken ranchers. And I don't know if anybody's ever been on a
Interesting.
chick. Yeah, I mean,
So
imagine
they had like a big
800,000 chickens.
facility. They had a big
Yeah,
facility or something. Okay.
yeah. To kind of give you perspective, 800,000 chickens. Each chicken sells for like $13 a pop. And these chickens go all over the world. So there's 4 flocks, so 800, 800, 800, 800,000. So you can imagine how much money the family's pulling in. Well, parents are
800,000 a
old,
flock? 800,000
800,000
flock?
chickens per
Oh,
flock. Yeah.
oh, wow. That's a lot of
Yeah.
chickens.
And they had 4
That's
flocks a
a lot
year.
of chickens.
Yeah. Just imagine a
Yeah.
huge football field full of like little chicks. That's what she had. Right.
Wow.
So they're going to give us the business because none of the other family members wanted it. So had I married her, they were going to give us the business, so on and so forth. Well, throughout the relationship, some things happened, and I realized I didn't want to be a part of it anymore. So I literally packed up my stuff one night when I got back from Denver. I quit, and I didn't think it through. I just knew I wasn't growing, and it was a toxic relationship, and I needed to get away.
That. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. And when we could talk all day on toxic relationships, but that was like the first big boy move I feel like I made. So I pack up all my stuff, I throw it in my truck, and I lived with this woman and this young girl and her family, and they took care of me for the last like 10 months, right?
Well, this is your first experience like away from home, right? That you said?
Yeah, this is in a sense.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So it was a big risk for you to be like, I need to like go out on my own and figure it all out. And
But those thoughts weren't even in my head at the time. The only thought in my head was get away from this girl.
Wow, that's good.
Get away from this relationship.
Yeah.
Run. Right.
That's the one that you really need to listen to.
Yeah. Then that voice in the head is like, don't go home, man. Don't go home. Yeah. So I was like, all right. So I tried to make it work, try to fix it. And I just got to the point, I was like, nah. So I get back. She actually picks me up from the airport. And I'm like, I can't do it. I can't do it. And then tragedy strikes, right? So she takes me back home. I pack up my stuff. And I literally break up with the whole family at that night.
Wow.
I get in my truck and I'm like.
That's funny how you say it that way. But yeah, I understand. Because you're living.
That's what it felt like. Because I had to go to each person and say.
I'm sorry. I'm leaving. I'm done.
Dude,
Bye.
It was a rough night, man. I'll tell you what.
How long at that point were you living there? 10 month's? Did you say?
Yeah, I was with them for probably about 10 months or so. I mean, and they took me on trips. They treated me like a son.
Yeah.
But there's just things in there that I was just like, I can't. I'm sorry. And I don't want to marry for money.
Relationship for 20 years. Sometimes it's good and sometimes it's really, really bad. So yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm there with you.
And I'm glad I was smart enough to make that call. So I was like, I'm out.
Oh yeah. Definitely.
Well, like I said, I did not think it through at all. So I pack up my stuff, I throw it in the truck, and I'm leaving, and I'm like, I have nowhere to go. I have no roof. I have no money for rent. I have no job now because I worked for the family. I had nothing. So I went in like full on adventure mode, right? Well, I called my friend and I crashed at her place that night. And then that's when I went from like millions in my future, all-star athlete, like I was at peak, to just
what am I doing?
Down, man.
Yeah.
Like I hit rock bottom and I scraped along for about 2 years. So I couch bummed a lot. I slept on floors a lot. I slept in my truck a lot. And the only thing I had going for me at this time was my friends and university, being at Fresno State. Yeah. Because I knew if I gave up Fresno State, then that was like the one tether that was going to hold me through everything. No matter how bad the drugs got, no matter how bad the drinking got, no matter how bad I got physically, I knew that if I lost university, I was going to lose everything.
Yeah.
Like, that was like the last thing keeping me sane.
Yeah.
And somehow, like, I still crushed it. That was a surprising point. But that's how I ended up in the homeless position, is getting away from a toxic relationship.
Hold on. I think I got disconnected there for a second. I can hear you now. All right.
All right.
Just double checking. Yeah. So you ended up in the homeless situation, you said.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
wow.
Yeah, it was weird. It's really weird to think. It's like because there's no control that you have of those kind of situations, and you don't ask for those kind of events in life. They
No.
just happen, and you don't know what it could lead to later in life until it's like 5 years, and you're like, wow, I'm actually really glad I went through that because of everything you have to learn how to survive and learning to know what your true value is as a human being.
Yeah.
That's really what I started picking up from there.
So, when did what was it, like a police academy or something? What was the thing that you were going to and you were taking the test? Was that before or after?
Yeah, okay. So when I first started university, I was a molecular bio major. I always want to be a physicist, and I'll finish that sometime. But I needed to switch to something easier, so I picked law.
Yeah, that's easy. You got it there. You got it there.
So I
Perfect.
picked that
Perfect.
with an emphasis in law enforcement, right? And it it was it was to be a cop, and I wanted to be an agent. So I picked all the professors, and I
Oh,
connected
that's
with
cool.
professors that
Yeah.
right. Like I had
Yeah.
one professor. He knew the leaders of SEAL Team 6, so he was given the breakdown when the whole Osama bin Laden thing went down, right? So he's
Oh,
like, "Oh, I
wow.
know these guys. This is the tactics." So he's giving us like not insider information, but like alternate perspective. So like that's the whole era when this was going on when I was going through college, and that's what I was learning. I was actually learning to be an agent
That's cool.
or I was learning to pursue
Yeah.
an agency. I even got letters of recommendation, but like I'm positive more than a handful of my teachers knew what was going on. Like it was very hard to
To
hid some
hide.
of that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but they weren't like, "Hey, you need to go for testing," and you're like, no, no." So when did you
Now,
give up that? When were you just like, "I'm done with this," or "I'm just using this to escape something"? Were you using it for escape or just to like give you a boost?
it's funny you say that because it's honestly it was a combination of both in a
Okay.
way. Um, as much as I at the time I was saying I'm not using it to escape. Well, here I am homeless, no job, no income, no direction, no life purpose. My parents they ended up going through something and a little bit of a split in another state, and I had nothing except for my friends, and we all love to just in a sense get effed up, and
Yeah.
that's what I loved to do. I was very good at it, and I was very functional
Yeah. Yeah.
while being it. A lot of people are like, man, I was crossfaded. Like I called it stacked. I was like, give me 5 things and I'll take it all at once and like let's go have some fun. Well, along the way, I really realized that that's not a sustainable lifestyle.
Yeah.
So between that and responsibility that I got with a DJ company, that's kind of what helped me shift out of it. But there was one night in particular back in 2015, January. I went to a concert in LA, and I took a healthy dose of, a psychedelic.
Hmm.
Totally lost my mind, literally, and I woke up in the hospital with 2 IVs and a catheter,
Wow,
and
that's
I
a wake
had
up
no
call.
idea. Yeah, I had no idea how I got there. Found out that an ambulance took me because the ambulance found me in the streets of LA as I was trying to walk away from this concert, yelling "Holy shit!" like 1,000 times. So the drive back from LA, and it was gross, man. Like I had like it was the worst I'd ever found myself. Like
You were like,
it
"What
was
the
bad.
heck? What's going
It
on?"
was well, okay. So like
Yeah.
in my mind, I had died that night. I thought I made it to heaven, and I
Yeah.
come back and I hear the little bleep 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 bleep. That's the first sound I hear when I'm coming back. So it's also like a birthing moment in a way.
Oh,
And I kind of
interesting.
come to, and the nurse walks in. She goes, "Hey, your friend's here." And like I snapped to, and I'm like, "What?" And then my friend walks in to come kind of like save me because I've been here for 4 hours. And I try and pop up, and I'm handcuffed to this hospital
Oh,
bed.
wow. That
And
must
I'm
have been
trying to figure out
weird. Like, why am I handcuffed? That is creepy.
exactly because I'm trying to figure it out. I totally forgot we partied the night of the concert. I totally forgot that I consumed narcotics. Like I'm like trying to piece this together. Like how do I wake up in this state right here? Like how does that
Yeah.
happen?
Wow.
Well, then they come in and he starts telling me, well, dude, we lost you, the concert, this, and like, and then driving back from LA that night or that morning, I was dead quiet. I just remember I'm looking out the passenger window for 5 hours and I'm just sitting there thinking, I'm like, wow, I'm that guy. Like, how did I get here? Like, what? Like, how did what? Just over and over and over and over in my
I
mind,
like how,
just
I
trying to
like
figure
you
it
said
out.
that guy. And what would you describe that guy as?
Just like that guy that you hear the story about getting effed up in the hospital and not knowing where he is. And I'm just like, wow, like, I was that guy. I was that guy last night. Holy crap.
Wow.
Like, how did I get there? And that's when I learned the value of holding up like a psychological mirror to yourself. Like, really start reanalyzing, shifting thoughts in your head. Like, okay, what is this thought? Where does it derive from? How do we get here? What are the habits that led to these decisions?
Now, at that point, when
And
you
then
were questioning that, was it something that you heard about before, or was it just like something you just started, like, I really want
no,
to get this
I
out of my
actually,
head, and you just started figuring it out?
yeah, I didn't know what I was doing at the time. Looking
Yeah.
back now with all the personal growth and mentorship I've had, like, I understand what I was doing now. But I
Yeah.
just started like asking myself these mental questions and just like kind of playing ping pong in a way it felt. And then that's when I learned, I was like, wow, like these are really, it's really my friends, my environments that are enabling this. I'm enabling them because I knew I was always an influencer in some aspect. So I'm influencing them, they're influencing me. Like what?
Yeah.
And then just growth started happening from there because that is when I would say I hit the realest rock bottom for
Yeah.
me mentally. Like I was like, oh wow, okay, how do we make sure this never happens again,
Happens
right?
again. Yeah.
So at that point, I just started shedding layers slowly, and it was, man, it was probably a 3 or 4 year process to get to almost the point where I'm at now from where I was, right? I mean,
Yeah.
this
It's
journey has
it's
been a
time.
nine, ten
Yeah.
year journey.
Yeah. It
It
takes
really has
time.
been.
It does.
And then I started getting more responsibility at the job I was working at. It's called GT Event Group, a great wedding entertainment company over here in the Central Valley. Started off as just a bass person. And by that time, I was just a regular wedding DJ, wedding MC, professional speaker. And after that happened in 2015, I really started taking myself seriously. And then in less than 2 years, I became GM of the entire company, responsible for training everybody. I was responsible for meeting with all clients. We got the company to nearly $500,000 in income. And then we really took over the entire event
Cool. Very
industry.
cool.
And I established huge relationship with everybody in our industry, built my reputation. But because of that responsibility and that the decisions I made, it shifted me away from all those habits and that mindset that got me there.
Yeah.
And that's when I
You had
really
something else to
learned
focus on. Is that what you would say, that you had something that you were very passionate, it sounds like, and
right. Well,
really wanted to succeed at? So
yeah.
so that's when you actually stopped using drugs or psychedelics or anything like that? Or
Yeah. So it all kind of came down to responsibility, and it wasn't my choice. I
yeah.
didn't decide to make this happen. That's the Lord, the universe, God, Jesus. That's what made
Yeah.
me happen. It put me in the weddings, and I was doing weddings 2 or 3 times every single weekend. So I was
Yep.
surrounded by love, positivity, the best night of people's lives, which is the complete opposite of kind of what I was used to, right?
Yeah.
Responsibility, running the show, making people laugh, giving them one of the best nights of their life versus me forgetting my night with alcohol and drugs
Yeah.
and blacking
Yeah.
out. But I had this responsibility and I knew that this was going to mess this up. So
Yeah.
I knew as long as I stayed with this, that was where the growth happened. Then, I mean, a great personal mentor of mine, Isaac, he showed me how to work with clients, how to sell, how to negotiate. He poured a lot into me, took me to business conferences. And
Now,
that's when my,
is Isaac in the business that you work? You
yeah,
don't
he
work
was
in
the
that
owner of
now,
the,
are you? Or you do it
no,
some?
no.
Okay.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
I retired. I went into business for myself to impact lives on a grander scale. But
Okay.
he was the owner of the company, and it was real small when we started, and then
Mhm.
we blew it up. There's like 4 of us, and there's about 20 of us when I left.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, I know what it is, the demand of the wedding industry, because I was a professional photographer shooting weddings as my first business by my, on my own type
Yeah,
of thing, for weddings
great
and
industry.
events. So,
Great
and
industry.
it's very demanding because you don't get a second chance with weddings, so
Nope.
you
You
have to
are,
get it right the first
yeah,
time.
you're a live performer, therapist, and wedding coordinator all in one pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're no reset at all. Or
No,
yeah.
there is no reason. It's like, can we go do that again? No, no. It's
Oh yeah.
very high
Great
demand.
time though.
Very high demand. Yeah, it's very fun. I got to see a lot of amazing places and go to a lot of amazing places doing that. So
Hmm.
yeah, I definitely, if you guys want a lot of stress, you
That's the
get to the
other
wedding
thing.
and the stress.
Wedding professionals, coordinators, photographers, and DJs. It's like I think like the top 10 stressful job or something
Oh
like
yeah.
that right now.
Well, like I said, there's no redos, and you have to because they pay so much to actually have these events happen. And
Hmm.
you realize that because you know how much you got paid, right? And then you're just like, I
Yep.
have to give them like not like my good quality. I got to give them like all I got, like, and I have to be
Hmm.
awake. And weddings don't last a couple hours; they last like a whole day. And
Photographers, you
so
guys are out there like 12 hours, dude. Like, it's like
yeah.
12 hours for days for
And
you
they
guys. That's
forget to
long.
they forget to feed you too and provide you a chair. So if you guys are having a
Yeah.
wedding and you forget, DJs, they do it to DJs too.
Yeah.
Your service providers would love a place to sit instead of the floor, and they would love a
Yeah.
meal. They would love a meal. So please be considerate of these people that are putting like all their heart into what they're doing, and,
Hmm.
and make sure you give them a break, because it's a lot
Yeah.
of hours.
Yeah.
It's a lot of hours.
It's a lot.
Yeah,
Very rewarding, very
it is.
stressful. Social life takes a hit a little bit,
Yeah,
but
yeah, because it's
that's the
every
trade-off.
weekend. Yeah, it's every weekend. I remember,
Yeah.
Monday through Friday, like getting the clients, make sure they know what they were doing, and if I had a client the weekend before, which, usually in the summer it's like nonstop. And then like processing their stuff and making sure they're good. And then like during the same week, getting the new clients and going to see them and going through the packages. And then the weekends, it'd be like the weekend's totally gone because that's when you are doing the performance, right? So it's like,
Yep.
and that's why I got out of it because I'm like, what am I doing with my life? I don't have a life at this point, It's like,
Yep.
there is no life here. Like,
Yeah. And the flip side of that though is or the irony is because I had no life, that's what saved me from where I was at.
yeah, definitely, I would
So
because
it's
you didn't
like
have time for anything else. So
exactly. It's like I don't have time to ruin my life, man. So I got to get this right.
hey, you're making good money too. So hey, you had
Yeah. Yeah.
definitely
It was
ambition
good.
there for making a good income. So yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. That's
So, I mean, if I could ask you though, so you're in the wedding industry, I'm in the wedding industry. We're kind of in the same industry now.
yeah,
How
yeah. We
did you
go
make
through.
that transition? Like, where did the transformation come for you? Were you like, all right, I'm done with this. I want to start impacting people's lives on a larger
Well,
scale?
I'll let you know a little bit about that because my story's quite long. So basically, I started as an entrepreneur when I was 19. There was a whole bunch of conflict and things that were supposed to happen. I was supposed to go to college. I like spent 2 years to get accepted to an art college. If you notice, I do paint. I was really
Hmm.
super excited, supposed to, go stay with grandma, live at her place, and do the whole college thing. And I was super stoked for it, moving out of town, a venture on my own. And then no, it didn't happen like that. It was basically like, okay, you got to go. We're gonna just send you to community college here, and you're just gonna take your basic classes. Well, once I started doing that for 2 years, I realized that none of my credits could be transferred. So basically, total waste of time. And not only that, literally, I lived in a small town, and my college was 2 hours away. My job was 2 hours away the other direction. Because
Mm.
if I went to school in the same like college place that I was going to college at, they were literally shooting it. There was a lot of shootings in the mall, like, and that was like the main thing. Like, that was like the community center, where all the shops and stuff were. So I was like, there is no way I'm going to work at places that literally people are carrying guns and shooting people. Like, that's how bad it was at that time. So literally, I would literally get anywhere from 3 to 5 hours of sleep on the nights that I have school. And, because I would still have to work to pay for my bills and then go, yeah,
Hmm.
it was just a total mess. Fast forward. So basically, on my own, age 19, decided I wanted to pursue photography because I was doing photography too at the same time. I've been just as active in photography at that time as I was in painting, and decided I was going to do something with photography. By then, I was already with my partner that I was with for 20 years. So we decided that we were going to do something with photography. He wanted to do like models and stuff like that. We tried
Mm-hmm.
that. No. So went toward weddings and events. Like I said, I
Yeah.
have a long story, but so once we did that, ended up getting out of the wedding industry because we both really love technology. Was the base that basically held us together. We were
Yeah.
very into technology. And we had a website, and I'll mention it here because it still exists. I'm very proud of it. It's called onewed.com. Built it with them from scratch, coded it, made the articles, had the pictures, everything. Of course, it's been revised many times since their original look, but that was before Google even existed. So I'm very proud that
Yeah.
it still exists. So that's what actually helped me get out of weddings, like actually
Mm-hmm.
shooting weddings, and more of being a base for photographers that they can promote their services through that directory, the wedding directory. So that
Mm-hmm.
made my transition. But you asked me particularly on how did I, get to where I'm at with, I guess you could say, mindset influencer, or I don't like saying coach because I don't do one-on-ones. I do courses and I
Mm-hmm.
do like this podcast and things like that. So I would say I'm kind of in between. I'm in between I would say motivational speaking and then
Mm-hmm.
the business success courses, because I've done so much online and business wise that way too, but I focus
Yep.
everything on mindset. And I would say
Mm-hmm.
that really didn't take full stage until much later. So let me throw in a couple key things here because it's gonna throw it off a little if I don't. So basically sold One Wed in 2008. Sold One
Okay.
Wed, company named Lake Capital. Retired. Had nice house, had cars and stuff like that. Anyhow, that's a whole other story. So once did that, whatever, life went on, had 3 kids, still have my 3 kids. They've been homeschooled their whole lives.
Mm-hmm.
So basically juggling, side businesses, 'cause I had many side businesses and but primarily focus, which really like played through all this time, was real estate. I've been always in real
Mm-hmm.
estate. Um, so focused all my energy on real estate for many years until the last like 2 to 3 years. I would say 2016. My partner I let him handle that. And moving forward, a lot of stuff happened, which will be a whole other podcast.
Yeah.
But a lot of stuff happened, and I was struggling. I was at a very dark place. And
Mm-hmm.
as a sole parent, raising 3 kids by myself, no finances, um,
Mm-hmm.
supporting 2 houses, supporting 4 horses. Yeah. So two
Wow.
indoor pets, which I still have. So it was a lot of responsibility that I was just like, now what? And just trying to find solid ground. And that's what's got me into speaking more my story. And a lot of people like yourself would come to me in the middle of the night most often and tell me what they're going through. And
Mm-hmm.
I felt very blessed because they were like, I never told anybody this. I
Mm-hmm.
never like, but this is what happened to me, or this is what's happening to me now, or this is me and
Mm-hmm.
my husband, this is what my husband's putting me through. And they would ask
Right.
for my advice. And literally, I just got somebody just a little while ago, just before we got on here. I just didn't have time to respond back to her, but I did leave her a message. So I was just like, okay. And really, that didn't catch up to me until just this last month, where I'm just like, people are still coming to me. They still want to talk. They still want to, tell people what's going on. And all these people want to help in some way or another. And that's what made the podcast too. So it's really, for me speaking, with the motivational space and even teaching the success and things, it's helped me because, not only because it helped me out of a really dark spot, but I would also say because my very first, you mentioned you had a mentor, right? What was his name? Isaac, right?
Yeah, his name was Isaac. Yeah.
Okay. So my first mentor was Zig Ziglar. So Zig Ziglar was my very first mentor, and my very first job out on my own was door-to-door sales for ADT security systems. So I owned everything by Zig Ziglar because he too was a door-to-door salesperson, and he was basically like my father figure too, in a way too. So
Nice.
I wanted to pay tribute in some way moving forward in that aspect as well.
Yeah. And, I think that's what kind of did it for me too, because when I was going through that whole transitionary period, that's when I found people like Les Brown, Eric Thomas, Zig Ziglar, Jim Rohn, Bob Proctor, and literally listening to hours and hours and hours of all that work is also what helped shifted me out too.
Yeah, it really does save you. Because like you mentioned this too, and I did, and it was the same with me, where I didn't have somebody that taught me about mindset, that taught me about like energy, that taught me about like the way you put things in your environment unintentionally. I questioned a lot over 3 years when it was getting really rocky, and I was just like, well, I notice if I do this, this happens, or, you start questioning everything because you're trying to fix it, right? You're trying to find a solution. And, so I was always questioning like everything. I mean, I got rid of my TV since last February. So just so I could like seriously discover who I was and, what was going on and, where I came from, basically just question everything, like everything. And, it really does. It totally changes you when you have that aha moment. And like I said, then you don't have to, like a lot of people that come on to share their story and the message in this program, Message of Hope, Struggle to Success. They have the same like aha moment. And a lot of people weren't taught this. They weren't like given this like one up, you could say. They really had to be at the bottom or, go through something really painful where they start questioning everything. And a lot of that, I think, is because we're so filled with like ads and like just noise, right, from our environment that we kind of forget that, our voice matters and we got to really start listening to it, so.
Right. And I couldn't agree more with you. And that's kind of the basis for one of the movements that I have is it's breathe human, right? Like before everything else, you were a human. Before religion, you were a human. Before nationality, your race, we all started off as human, right? And I look around and I feel almost as if people forget that they're human. They work, they pay bills, they surface level relationships, they don't go deep with each other. And being in the wedding industry, I'm sure you're aware, like it's a very high divorce rate right now.
It is. I think it's over 50% now, right?
Yeah, and that was pre-COVID. I think that was pre-COVID, and so everybody kind of forgets to go, like, to be human, to chase those dreams, that fire, that soul that they have, right? Now, you're talking about that aha moment, and it's very interesting because you can tell who's had it and who hasn't had it. You could tell who's been humbled by life and who has not yet. It's like, and there's no course for that. That's the hard knocks of life. Like you get yours when you get yours. And once you get it, it's like,
I like how you say that because a lot of those people are the ones still blaming people. They're all the people that are still blaming people. And I think when you hit that aha moment, you take back your power pretty fast. You're just like, wait, I'm releasing this energy to that person. And I'm like, not anymore. I'll take back that power and reharness it to something much better. Yeah.
That's like the moment you start to really know your value and your impact. And then like I think that's another thing is trying to challenge people's perspectives so they realize the impact that they have on other people's lives, or lack of being a great parent, what that leads to, and how that impacts society versus taking the time being the parent impacts society, you know.
Yeah.
So, and I got a lot of that from, you know, I think Dr. Miles Monroe. He was really big in helping me realize that through his work.
And what does he do? I'm not familiar.
Dr. Miles Monroe, he's up there with like Les Brown.
Oh, okay.
Um, if you get a chance, Dr. Miles Monroe, he has some of the
Miles
best sermons.
Monroe. Okay.
Yep. Yeah, he's from Africa. He used to sleep on the floor with roaches crawling over his body. He used to look up at the stars. And then somehow he went from that and he changed his mindset, all of a sudden being called on by heads of state to have him come and coach them, train them, you know,
Yeah.
big CEOs. Like, you know, a lot like Elon Musk. Elon Musk, he's from South Africa, white boy,
Yeah.
South Africa,
Yeah.
moved to Canada, and then look at him now. You know,
Yeah.
it's just all mindset, knowing your value.
Yeah,
That
definitely.
aha moment.
That
Crucial.
aha moment. Yeah. So when did you retire off of the DJ front? I think you still said you still kind of do a little bit of that, don't you?
Yeah, right. So it was my, I guess my main source of income, but due to COVID, like the entire industry shut down. And I used to think
Oh,
that
I see. Okay. So
yeah,
it's not been too long. It was like 6 months ago, I guess. You could
yeah,
say?
no, I actually retired from GM. Oh man, it's like a month or two
Oh,
ago. I
really?
retired
Okay.
from GM
Okay.
position, and then I switched and I used my network marketing with Isogenics to be my main now.
Okay.
And that's been a huge positive outlet, is just growing on all fronts as a human being. But I still DJ on the side. Like I love bringing people together. I love the power of music. It's something that transcends all social boundaries and nationalities.
Yeah,
And
it
it doesn't
does.
matter who you are, what age you are. If you're out on my dance floor, we're gonna have some fun. So
Yeah. So what kind of music do you like to play?
I can do it all.
Particular?
I'm that white boy that could do banda, cumbia. I could do EDM, hip hop, classic rock, and throw like some top 40 in there in one set and make it sound good.
That's good. That's good. You have a good mix there, definitely, especially for anybody that wants something different, not just like I just do this type. Because there are some DJs that just like I only do this type, and
Oh
I
yeah,
only have
there's
these
many different
tracks.
breeds.
So
Many
yeah,
different
cool,
breeds.
very cool. And do you do your DJing just in your area, or do you go outside the area for that?
The the furthest I've traveled is Maui at Mama's Fish House. I was gonna do it anyways because I was the best man in the wedding, and
Uh-huh.
my buddies, his grandparents owned it, so I was like, cool, yeah, I'll come do a wedding over here. But I've been Paso Robles, I've been to Napa, I've been to some very nice, luxurious places, and I've been to some very interesting backyards.
Well, that's cool. So good, good. So
Yeah,
if anybody's like, "Hey, I really like this Alex guy. Let me get him out here and DJ something for me."
yeah, I love to
Uh,
travel. Let's get a contract going for
yeah,
sure.
yeah, definitely. So tell me a little bit about the isogenics. What is that exactly? It's a product.
Yeah, so Isogenics, it's a complete health and wellness company. You know, it's privately owned. It's one of the largest and most respected health and wellness companies in the world that's owned by a family. You know, Kathy and Eric Coover, or excuse me, Jim and Kathy, and then Eric's the son. He's kind of taking it over. So along my journey, after beating my body up, of course, I
Yeah, you
really
did.
realized, yeah, I mean, there's some nights I woke up. There's one night when I was laying by myself, and I write about this in my book.
Oh, you
I was
didn't
laying
mention the
up.
book. You'll have to mention the book next.
Yeah, I'm a big writer. We touch on that. It's called
Okay.
Dancing with Devils. Okay.
Okay.
But there's one night when I was like seriously close to ODing. I was hyperventilating, mucus coming up, and I'm sitting in this kid's playground in the middle of the night. It's like 3 a.m. and I'm looking up at the stars with almost all my clothes off, trying to cool down. Right. Um. Well, talk about blast from the past. Sometimes you just don't think about things, right?
Yeah, yeah, you forget about it.
Um.
Yeah.
Man. So yeah. So I mean, a couple of those nights when I skirted on the edge, right? And I now know the value of how important it is to have a healthy body. Before that, you have to have a healthy mind. Healthy mind first, healthy body. Because if your mind and your body, if you're not aligned in those two, then you cannot be the best version of yourself. You cannot be the best father. It doesn't matter. And I work with moms in Isogenics all day long. I work with people from all walks of life. people who are looking for better nutrition, people who are looking to get coached up a little bit, you know, whatever their reasoning is. But when you have all these things going on, and if you're expelling all this energy and you're not putting back into yourself, you will deteriorate. You will burn out, and it's only a matter of time. At that point, you can't give anymore. So with Isogenics, it's allowed me and really helped me sharpen the skills and fine tune, keeping my mind and my vibes high, and then keeping my body very, very well nutrified.
Yeah.
And then that has just allowed me to pour into every other area of my life. How I developed relationships with other people, with people I've never met. I mean, Amina, you and me, we've been kind of going back and forth on Facebook for a little bit, and then boom, here we are.
Yep.
And I've met some amazing people with the skill sets that I've been able to really sharpen in network marketing and apply to all the other areas and businesses of my life. But Isogenics is basically your own Amazon GNC put together. I mean, everything's scientifically designed. I love all the products.
So
and,
you do like anything from vitamins to protein shakes to
everything.
All the basic stuff that would be in like a regular GNC. Okay, and is it all natural?
Yeah, everything is like dairy. Most of it's dairy-free, vegetarian, soy-free, gluten-free. We have vegan energy drinks, which I was like, really? And then I switched because I was a DJ, right? I'm always doing Red Bulls, like always drinking Red Bulls, right?
Yeah.
And then I switched to these, and I'm like, all right, I like this. It's got like all these vitamins and adaptogens in it.
You don't want the Red Bull. That Red Bull, you can't even read the back of it at all.
Yeah, exactly. And then since I've been with Isogenics, I started working with the Parkinson's community here in Fresno. And I was very fortunate to learn about health and things like oxidative stress, free radicals, how on a long enough timeline, things like that equal neurodegenerative diseases later in life, right?
Yeah.
And so I've been able to learn how to reduce the possibility of that happening. So it's like Isogenics, huge educational platform, and it's a lot of great people inside for sure.
Well, that's what you've been doing for how many months would you say that you've been involved with them? And you're doing it full time right now, though, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I started about a year ago, but I was too busy managing over 250 weddings a year.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I tell you what, when I retired, I fell asleep with with a smile on my face every night that week. I was just like, oh.
Yeah.
So I retired, and then I just went full force in this, and I've been full force in Isogenics for about the past 2 months, and it's opened up so many doors in relationships and connections.
Good. That sounds awesome. I'm glad that, you found your new passion, definitely. So not so much DJing because it wears you out. And then, really.
It can take its toll, man.
Focusing on all health right now. That's good. That's a good direction to go in, definitely.
Yep.
So tell us about your book.
Yes. Okay. So I'm actually writing 3 books right now. Okay. So first book that I started, it's science fiction book. My mom, she's a huge, bless that woman's heart, huge Stephen King fan. I can't do horror though. That woman, like we're a little different. But she grew me up on like Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter. So I started incorporating all my favorite stories and I put it into one. And it's a total science fantasy. I love it. But that project's going to be finished later in life. But Dancing with Devils is a true, it's something special. And the reason why is because when I was going out on my period, how I went from 0 income, drugs, and all that other fun stuff, homeless, to literally working with some of the top network marketing professionals in the entire country, international keynote speakers. Mm-hmm. How I did that, I didn't have any professional help. I didn't see a therapist. I didn't go to rehab. I've had friends that even stopped hanging out with me that were my best friends because they didn't want to be associated with it. So the only people I turned to were doing the drugs, that were still drinking every weekend, right?
Yeah.
And so how did I get out of it? Well, I have a mental blueprint in my mind. And I tell my story. It's an autobiographical transformation. So I tell my story and things that I'd gone through, but I flip it to the reader. And the book is really designed for anybody that feels like they're lost, lack of purpose, if they have a cloud in their mind and they can't see the steps that they're taking in their life like I did at one point.
When you say that you flipped it to the reader, is it first person? Is it like, okay, so it's like they're going through the experience.
Right. So I tell the story from first person, little third person view, but I always flip it back. So me when the reader is reading it, they're reading my mind talking to them.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. That sounds
Right.
cool. Sounds really cool. Yeah.
And then I have a bunch of exercises throughout the entire book. So each chapter gives a breakdown of like social influence, you know, your energy, where you're spending it, habits. And at the end of each chapter, I have an exercise that the person could do. It takes anywhere from like 15 minutes to an hour. So people can physically see what's going on before them. Because
Yeah.
when you can start seeing things and you write it out, that's where the power is, right?
Yeah.
You know,
It
writing
is.
the affirmations. So the book comes complete with all of those. And it really gives the blueprint that I took to beat all those demons, those devils.
Yeah.
And I call it dancing with devils because a lot of people, we dance with those bad habits, we dance with those addictions, we dance with those vices, and we always try and find a way to justify it. So you're kind of dancing with the devil in a way, and that's how I always felt it was.
Yeah.
And that's what it's all about. Yeah.
That's cool. So when you have a timeline on that, you know, when the
I mean,
deadline's going to be like done.
it's pretty much done right now. I have a few other deadlines with a couple other projects that I'm like have to nail down in the next month before I really open that up. And that's the beautiful thing about Isogenics. It's allowing me to take those steps. And once I open up a market, I can impact it further and offer this book to those in network marketing that are looking to
Definitely
really get to the next level. So
definitely. And you have a third book, you said too. What's the third one gonna be about?
How to be a wedding DJ, man.
Of course, the past. You got to touch on the past too, right?
Yeah. So I've rocked. I think the last time I checked, I did like some 300 weddings in like 5 years, 6 years. So I wrote down my whole playbook basically. It's like a huge wedding playbook on who to talk to, what to say, scripts for the maid of honor, how to calm brides down, like the whole book, right?
Wow. Yeah. So it's like a Q&A in a way, but then also how they would like set up, I guess, the equipment needed and things like that as well. Okay. Very cool.
It's
very cool.
huge user guide. So.
Yeah. Good. Get the next generation of inspiring DJs out there. It's a good way to give back and basically put a closure to that too as well. So, yeah. So where would people get a hold of you, Alex? Where are you mostly at?
So I'm a pretty easy guy to find. Alex Bowser, Bowser on Facebook. You just Facebook my name and I'll pop up. There'll be obviously a mugshot. And then Instagram is just Mr._Bowser, Bowser. And then that's my social media. I'm way more active on Facebook than I am on Instagram for now. That'll definitely change. I do a little bit on Twitter every so often, but that's not a platform I'm pushing right now.
Okay, so get a hold of you on Facebook is probably the best way to reach out to you and find out more about Isogenics and any type of DJ thing that they might want you to be involved in. So that's a good way to connect, definitely. So is there anything else that you like to like leave people, like a message of just encouragement, of hope, of like, you know, you definitely got this?
Yeah. All right. So this is something I thought about a long time ago, and it kind of touches on the fabrics of society and how everything's kind of woven together. And this is kind of like one of the birthing philosophies of Breathe Human, right? So, you know, when we talk about humans, the human race, and, you know, the average lifespan, when you have people in their 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s, right? Well, in the grand scheme of things, the people in the 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s, I mean, we're learning this as we go. We're playing the rules of some other game that somebody's put forward decades ago, policies that were around before we even got here, and so on and so forth, whatever's in the history books and whatever people say, right? So when people attack you, when people do things, I've learned to not take it personally, because you don't know what stage development that person's in. Maybe there's some form of demon trauma that they're not even aware of that's causing them to act out. Now, can we get disappointed and upset? Of course, absolutely. We're human. We have emotions and things like that. But don't take it too personally. A lot of people are figuring things out. Like, I'd done things that I'd screwed people over, and I look back and I'm like, wow, like that's the mindset I was in. Really, that's interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
So don't take it too personally. Focus on yourselves. Be human. Everybody's unique. We're not designed to be carbon copies of each other. So be human, breathe humanity. Everybody, we all bleed the same blood. Don't take it too personally and pursue those dreams, because you got something special inside you that's gonna impact somebody's life.
Definitely. Everybody does.
Yes.
Everybody here has a story. Everybody has something they can pass on to somebody out there that's waiting to hear the story, the message. Everybody's going through something. And like you said, everybody's at a different stage in their development. So, definitely, it's good just to have that reinforcement often too, just because, there's always ups and downs, loss, obstacles. So it's always nice to, just be like, all right, I'm good. But then when you hit another wall and then you feel like crap and you feel like I can't get through this one, then you're reinforced and you're like, yeah, I can. I did it before, and I've got, all these people before me, or maybe even, younger too, that's just like, hey, they did it, I can do it too. So definitely
Amen.
powerful.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Alex, I am so grateful you came on today. And
Yes.
it's awesome connecting finally here.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
so thank you for sharing your message of hope with everybody from struggle to success. And I'd like to thank everybody listening here on the live. We got quite a bit actually on the live today. So thank you guys for staying here this long. Also, you can catch the replay, the actual one-on-one view that I'm looking at with Alex here at amina.media. So you can go there, subscribe to that channel, and see much more of these coming up at this month. And then if you want to listen to the podcast, we are on 8 different networks now broadcasted. To get to the links, you can go to Anchor, like the boat anchor.fm, like FM radio, / or whatever, / I don't know, / one up. So it's anchor.fm / one up. And thank you guys for tuning in, and to totally appreciate all the listeners out there. Make sure you share the message. That's what we're here for. We're here to share the message. We have to put more real people out there, real news, real positivity. So make sure you definitely share the message, pass it on, and reach out to Alex when you're ready to, get leveled up in your products, and make sure you stay healthy. So
And Amina, you got a great message. I love it. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, guys, on our YouTube channel.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. All right, Alex, I'll talk to you a little later. Take care. Bye.
Absolutely. Take care, guys.